Hello guys, and welcome to another ProfileTree video. So in today's video, we're going to be covering a brand new Wix editor called Wix Studio. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. So there are some key features and highlights of Wix Studio, and these include advanced design capabilities. You've also got responsive AI, and yes, that is artificial intelligence. So that's now been integrated into the Wix Studio. You've also got AI text and image generation as well, and the good old no-code interactions. You got custom CSS, intuitive learning, and then we also have a new way for collaboration as well, and that means it just becomes a little bit more efficient with client management. And you've also got advanced capabilities and robust code environment. But we'll go ahead and break down some of the parts on how to use the actual editor itself first before we look at the new features. So let's first familiarize ourselves with how the layout has changed on Wix Studio. So of course there are a couple of changes, but it's not too drastic. We still have the OG section areas. We can still add elements as well. It's still going to be a drag and drop editor. However, parts of the editor itself has been moved slightly. First thing here is we actually have our toolbar, which is known as the inspector, on our right side. So if you go ahead and open up the arrow, you'll see that you'll have a sectioned area. So here we have the sizing of the section. We've got the height of the section. We can scale it as well, have a fixed height, fit the screen. We also have the background. We also have color. We can add images, background overlay. We have the layout as well, overflow content, position, and so on. But we'll go through that when we're adding parts to the site and when we need to add things to the section. Now, another part that they have changed layout-wise is that they have put the layers on the left side. So for each section, you can have an overview of the footer, header, and of course, as I said, the section, so you can see what has been put into the section. But of course, we'll demonstrate that later on in the video. And other than that, we also have a new area here, which we can preview desktop, a tablet version, and a mobile version. Before it used to just be the desktop and a mobile version. And what's great about this is that we can actually shrink it just to see if the site is responsive enough. So depending on the size of the screen, so we're at 1280px. Now we can change that as well. So for our editing size, depending how we want to build this. So if we say 1500 and we apply that, you can see that it has become a bigger screen. We could just double check to see whether the site again is very responsive, and you can see that it is okay there. But we'll bring it back down to 1280 because that is the screen that we prefer for this version. Now it'll occur different for any other screen sizes. Of course, the bigger the screen size, then you have to make sure that you increase your px, but this is primarily what the screen width is normally at, which is 1280px. So moving on, everything is the same in terms of the undo and the redo. It's still on the top right there. You've also got notifications, and of course you still have your preview and publish. Now what's great as well with the Wix Studio is that you can add collaborators. So on the top here, it just makes things a little bit more easy. You can go ahead and invite people to collaborate. So of course if you have the same logins for the same area, then it'll just duplicate. So I'll go ahead and demonstrate that. So I've went ahead and duplicated the page. You can see here that we have ProfileTree support and we also have ProfileTree support. So you can see that this one is currently on the home page. Now if I change that, if I say that, if I go ahead and manage pages, just add another page here. Okay. So I'll just leave that for now. So I'm now on the new page. If I go back here, and we could just try to see where this person's now. So it usually would say that this person is now on the new page, so they'll be editing around there. You can see where they will edit as well. So if I just have myself clicked here, you can see profile tree support, that they're in this particular section. Or if I have myself on the header, now they're on the header. So that's a good way to see collaborative work. You could see where the collaborator is, what sort of page they're on, or what particular page they're on the site itself. So that's a great way to discuss things if you are on a call, and if of course you want to navigate where they are, then you can see that. And moving on, so we've got the elements are still the same, and we've of course have the pages. You've got global sections now, so I'll go ahead and show you the global sections later there. We've got site styles, we've also got the app market, we've got CMS, and we've got code. Now we'll go ahead and check out the elements and see what's new. So it does look more or less that everything is the same. Of course, everything is just a little bit laid out better. So you've got images all the way to frame and social bar. So it is a little bit easier to locate where all the necessary items are. Now we've got assets as well. So you've got roots, movement, and save assets. So design once and you can reuse that anywhere. So that's another good feature to have. So that's pretty much just designing a particular section or page, and if you want to duplicate that, you can go ahead and do so. So that is the assets. Now they do have a bit more of a dynamic look and well-designed sections. You can see they're welcome here. So these are all their different hero sections. You can see how well built they are. It's a step up from the Wix editor, and I would say the editor X itself, because what I would think Wix Studio is a combination of both Wix editor and editor X. So it's just in the middle, but it's not being too complex. I would say I would outdo editor X itself, just for how well structured Wix Studio is. So we do have a couple of the different areas there for hero sections. You can see how well laid out they are. We'll build a site later on in the video once we have just went through the different areas here. And of course the same would be for each of these sections. So about, services, products, team, projects, testimonials, and banners. They're all there. And of course what we have here, which is different, is the navigation. So we've got headers here. We could just drag and drop headers. We can drag and drop footers, and these are all designed as well. So that's what's great about them. And I'll show you guys why the global sections come into place later on in the video. But anyway, we've got the headers and the footers there, and it just makes things a whole load easier when you are trying to design a website with a budget amount of time, or a limited amount of time. Next, we've got containers there, so that's more or less all the same. Of course, we've got design containers and hover containers as well. Text are all the same as well. We've got text themes, collapsible text, so that's a little bit new. And we've got the text mask there, which is all the same in there. So collapsible text here, and the text mask. There's a little bit more information on it as well. Layout tools, so this is another cool thing to have. So instead of adding a container in or sectioning grids out straight away, you can go onto the layout tools, drag and drop it on a specific section, and you can have section grids. Another cool thing that they have is repeaters as well. So of course some of you guys have seen the Wix editor, or editor X did have the repeaters. Now I would say a new one would be the tabs. Now this is great, especially if you have a product, or if you want to give some information about a specific course, then you could section it out with tabs, and it just means that nothing is too cramped. You don't even have to code these as well like you used to. You could just use the tab section, drag and drop. You could see that it's now here, and then of course if you go ahead and preview it, you can see different sections of information if you click on a specific button. So that's another cool feature to have, which is the tabs. That is a fairly new option to have. And we also have the accordions, and more or less the same thing, but it drags it down. So these would be great for FAQs, or this would be also great for any sort of products that you're selling. You can see here that they have a tag. If you have a fashion store, you can change your color, pricing, size, collection. So that's another reason why you would have these accordions as well. You also have slideshow repeaters. Now, they're all more or less the same. The only difference is that they have changed the slideshow slightly. We've actually created a video on that, and we'll link it down in the description below, and it's how to create a multi-box slider with the buttons instead of the two arrows here. So go ahead and check that out if you have some time. So we also have the traditional light boxes as well. So you can see just a almost wireframe-like type light boxes. So they're easy to modify as well. You can see that you have a blank version of it. Now you have CSS grids as well and flex boxes. So these would be more in the advanced type for the layout tools. This is when you can integrate some code on it as well. Buttons are the same as well. So you've got basic buttons. They're all more or less the same from when we've started using the Wix or editor or the Wix editor or editor X. Of course, you also have some styled buttons as well, which is all in the same section. So next is the menu and search. Now, these are just the menu buttons that you would have and apply if you have multiple pages. You do have options for vertical menus as usual from the Wix editor as well. That was the same. There's also anchor menus as well, also the same. We've also got hamburger menus, and we've also got the site search. In terms of media, they're still the same layout. You've got your images, video, and audio, as well as the decorative. You've got your shapes, vector art, and text effects, which is still current from the previous, so it's more or less all the same there. Or that is the new part that Wix Studio offers, and we've also got the video. So the text mass is great, just makes things a little bit more modern with a site. You can see that there's a video playing on the back with text in front. Contact forms is a little bit easier to work with, I would say, on the Wix Studio, or more or less the same as well. You do have your contact, you've got a subscribe, and one for newsletter as well. You've got order form. You've got the Google Maps as well, so everything's all here. Now you've got options for blog, store, bookings, events, members, CMS, and multilingual. So that's just various different languages for your site. Now that's handy to have, and that is great for SEO as well. What's great with this as well is that this has just been added on, so it looks to be that it is on its the beta. So you can add multiple languages to your site. So depending if you are going to create a website that is international, so it's branded for different countries, or if you're going to be specific and only sell or have a website built, so it's not a e-commerce site, but it's just a non-e-commerce brochure site for a local area, you can have it. You don't need to have the multilingual option. So that's all the elements. Of course, we've went through the layers. This is the site pages, which we briefly went over as well. You can see how easy it is to add a page. You can add it through add new page here or the top right there. And then, of course, what you could do here is check out the SEO basics. You could see your meta description from here as well. You can see there's the title tag or the meta tag and the meta title, and then of course your meta description. You've got advanced SEO and you've got your permissions here, so who can view this page. There's still an option there for password holders, members only, and of course the name of the page. Now, we briefly looked at the global sections. Now, the good thing about this is that if I have another page, so of course our other page there was the new page. So I'll just stick to this one. So this is our new page here. We've got a new page. So I can have for the home page a specific header, or I can choose not to have the header. So I could just edit that. See, I can click on this, and then you could see that this is the default header. Now I can add more headers if I want to. So with the should be on the layout tools. Let's have a look. So it's actually on the sections. So if I go into the header and then I drag and drop one, this will recognize that I have added one in. So let's see. So I'll just have that on the header now. So I'll just, you can see here that it is global. That's what it's currently saying. I can add to the homepage if I wanted, or I could just keep it off. You can see now that the homepage doesn't have a header. However, if I go to the new page, I do have a header. And I can add more headers if I wanted to. So if I had a different designed header, then I can add that to this page. But you can see that I can add that to the page, and then that'll verify it with a tick mark. So that's just what global sections are all about. You can see there's a description there. So global sections can show on multiple pages. Changes you make to one apply everywhere. So it's in use on this site. Now, you have your site styles. They all remain the same. So depending on your typography or your color and page transitions, so you can have out and in. So that's obviously if this is a published site. This is when they open up the site, then you have the out-in transition. So that is more or less what the general layout looks like. So what we'll do now is take a look at the website development. Now, building a website is fairly easy for what it is. Now, if we go to our dashboard, if we wanted to create a new site, we can actually build it with the Wix editor or editor X. Of course, those options are still available. However, with Wix Studio, we can select a template, use our own template, or of course start from a blank canvas, which we did there. But if we were to have a look at some of the responsive templates that they have, you could see that they have all their templates, or check out their design templates. So they have a list there. You can see how it's fairly similar to Editor X if you guys have ever touched base on that. But we've got different versions of these templates, of course. So in relation to what you may be picking, then this would be, of course, you have a whole list here. Now, compared to Wix Editor, you don't have the full general template that you normally see. You can search up a template and then it's there. You're basing it off what you can see in front of you. So these are currently what they have are these design templates. Of course, they have a few options, but not a lot compared to Wix Editor. But it is enough to work on. Now, if you don't fancy any of the templates that's shown, simply just select the wireframe and you'll get the option to pick an e-commerce wireframe. You can pick a landing wireframe or landing page, so that's just a singular page. And you've got a multi-purpose wireframe, advanced multi-purpose wireframe, advanced portfolio wireframe, and a services wireframe. So you could just decide from here, or of course, which we've done here, which is start with a blank canvas. To get started with building a general site, you of course have a header, a section, and a footer. Now you would always just start off with the header and then build your footer as well, then start building a section, or you could do it vice versa. Now with the section, if you wanted to add bits to it, which is the elements, of course you have different parts to it. You've got your sections here, you've got buttons, menu, everything is there, and some of them have already been pre-built as well. You can also select the columns here So I can split the column if I wanted to, and then I also have an option to add more cells to the right or more cells to the left. Now, depending if I wanted to have rows as well, I can make it as rows instead, or keep it as columns. And we still have the area for background scroll effect, so it still works the same way. So if I just add some media onto here, and I'll just select the free yoga here, and add that to the page. Now, if I have a scroller website and I select on the very cell here, I should be able to, let's just have a look. I will be given the option to actually make it a dynamic version. So this is where this comes in handy. So if I use the toolbar, you can see that I am currently on the cell, but I want to be on the section. And that brings me back to the section, and then I can go ahead and add a scroll effect, which is fade in or fade out. So that's what it would be in this particular column. This column, you can see that if I add the section, that also has a scroller effect. So that's just built in for the entire section. If I want to specifically do anything with this image, I can have and use this toolbar on my right side to adjust it. I can go ahead and add a cursor to it or anchor it, as you can see. I can apply my border. So if I wanted a radius of 50, you can see that it'll give me a radius of 50 for the corners. So it still works the same way as Wix editor. So it hasn't changed from that point. Everything is all there. It's just the layout. If I am not happy with the changes that I've created, I can simply just select the undo button on the top left here, and that brings me all the way back to the start. Or if I bring it back to the start, it just keeps going on the previous version that you did. So we also have a new one here, which is called responsive AI. So this is where we would need to add elements to use responsive AI, and this, as you can see, responsive AI generates a responsive design with the elements on the canvas. To use it, add elements and try again. So we'll go ahead and add an element. We'll just do something decorative. We'll just add a basic shape, and we will work with one. Let's just see if we could just do a quick add. We'll just add a shape. So we'll just center it. So we'll go ahead and select the AI again. So you can see that get a responsive section on all devices with AI. So we'll go ahead and generate now. We'll create a responsive design. So of course, if you do build the site and you have bits made to it, then if you just try out the responsive design, then you could try to make something out of it. So it's just generating something for us now. So let's see what it's done. We'll go ahead and apply that design, and we'll go ahead and preview it, see what we are working with, see if it's done anything. Okay, so we can review it, customize it, see if it's done that. So usually what it would do is it would create a responsive design so it can make things a little bit more fluid in terms of design for the site. Okay, so I've just played a bit with it a little bit there, and now it's creating a more responsive design. So I've added a couple more of those shapes just to see what it will do, and it'll just generate this responsive design for us. Okay, so we'll just apply that design. So you can see that it's created a different section for it as well. We'll add a couple more sections just to see if it has created a sort of design for it. So it's sectioned out each of the areas and it will animate. But of course we are still at the beta stages for that. But there's a lot of things that you can create with the AI responsive design, which is great. So feel free to try out and see what you can create with it. But moving on, so we've got different sections for interactions as well. So we can have now a hover, you've got click, scroll, and loop. So all the animations are on the right side still, which is the inspector. So that's all there. And if I wanted to add a hover effect, you can see that if I select on shrink, then it will shrink. If I rotate it, you can see that it rotates. If I twist it, you can see it twists or appear. It'll appear, or I can just have none, or I can have custom ones as well, or I can choose on canvas. So canvas can be added here, so we'll do that. And then, of course, yes, that's where we can add the element. Now, in other times as well, some of the new stuffs that have been applied, which we've shown earlier. If I just go to the layout tools, which is the accordion. Now, again, another useful part to have, and just to preview it, just to show what it can do. You can see that if I open up an area, then I can read more about the About section or services and contact us. Now that's great for having it within the home page, an FAQ, or services pages, wherever you would like to have it. It's just a little mini information guide. You can stretch it out as well. And of course, the list goes on in terms of all the different parts that they have there. So again, slideshow repeaters there. You've got light boxes. And then the tabs. So when you are creating a website, we'll just go ahead and view a well-structured one here. So we'll go ahead and view the gaming setup. You can see how fluid the design is, so it'll show you what it looks like within the desktop, mobile, and the tablet version. So for this one, they've created a pop-up sort of menu, so it's like a light box for the menu. Now, if I scroll down, you can see that the background is still a static image, while if I scroll down here, you can see some of the areas that it's added until I go down here. Now, if I edit this template, it'll show me how it's been done. So it's pretty impressive how this has been made on Wix Studio. So you can see some of the effects it has. Again, scrolling down, you've got some videos here as well. And of course, if I scroll down here, that's a parallax or a sort of animation with the background, which enables it to close over. And of course, we have a movable video logo here by the looks of it as well. So a very, very nice fluid design all around. And we'll just wait for the Wix Studio to load up here. So you can see how this has been created. If you scroll down, you can see that if we click on this particular one here, by the looks of things, it is at a 1131 height, and this has been created so that the direction will be vertical, and then let's see, position is default, and that scrolls down all the way. So until that hits to the bottom, that's when it stops. And of course, we have a background image here as well. You can see how they have layered out the sections here. So there's the image, and of course we have a stack there. And this is a chat. That's the name of this specific area. So we don't actually. So the chat is above with the header, and it could be pinned. So you can see how well laid out the actual site can be. You can see how they've used a video for this. So that's a transparent video. So that's a cool little feature to have as well. But overall, what Wix Studio aims to be is more of a modern feel to the website. It's more of a modern type. And it's great for creating a more modern site using a drag and drop builder. But guys, that pretty much reaches the end of the video. So that is the brand new Wix Studio editor. Go ahead, feel free to check it out, play with it, see what you can create with it. Now, if you guys enjoyed the video or found it helpful, let us know in the comment section below. We'd like to know what you think. But other than that, I'll see you guys for the next video. Thank you very much for watching.